Hey everyone, this is LilithMind Relationship Advice, and thank you for joining me today as I take a deeper look into Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4, Episode 3. For this particular commentary, I'm going to focus on why Melody did not bring the kids to the book signing. Martell and the kids wrote a book about their trip to Canada, and he wanted them to have the opportunity to be entrepreneurs, so he helped them to write this book, or he co-wrote the book with them, and it is published, and he had a book signing for them, and he wanted Melody to bring the kids to the book signing during her visitation time. So they have split custody, and I think it's 1 week on, 1 week off. They go back and forth. The kids go back and forth to Martell and Melody 50% of the time. So on the surface, it looks like Melody is being unfair and irrational. She's being bitter. She should have basically came through and supported Martell. A part of me thinks that Martell scheduled this event during Melody's time with the kids is because he also wanted Melody to see what he was doing. He was trying to impress her too. That's what I think, and that's also one of the reasons why I believe he was hurt about her not showing up. But that's beside the point. The reason why Melody did not show up is because Martell has done everything possible to create strife and tension and conflict after the divorce. Melody does not feel safe around Martell. I'm so happy the manager pointed this out, because that's the first thing I was going to say. Melody does not feel safe around Martell. When you're a single parent, you need security and you need consistency, right? When you talk about security, Melody needs to feel secure within herself in order to be able to show up consistently for her kids. So Melody has to financially provide for 4 children. She has to take them to school, cook for them, clean for them, take care of her own businesses, deal with her own mental health. She has to do this as a single parent. And unfortunately, with Martell, it's difficult to do that because Martell has taken every single opportunity over the past several years to antagonize Melody, even though he's supposed to be happy with Arion. So this is the problem. When Melody tries to extend some grace and some compassion towards him, and she tries to be merciful towards him and understand things from his position and be accommodating towards him, Martell, like many people with personality disorders, they use that as an opportunity to further abuse their victim. Do you guys remember last season, I believe, when Martell and Melody went to that co-parenting session and Martell started to cry a little bit and Melody rubbed his shoulder to try to console him because she felt bad for him. She even started crying herself because she understood the struggles that he was going through. And those struggles that Martell was going through was one of the reasons why Melody stayed married to him for so long, because she was trying to protect Martell from the consequences of his own actions. She knew Martell did not have the builder's license. She knew that Martell wasn't really business savvy. She knew that him marrying her was protection for him. He was benefiting from her hard work, her ambition, her gifts, her talents, her intellect, right? The blessings that God was bestowing upon her. Martell was benefiting from that. And Melody knew that by staying married to him, she was protecting him from basically falling on his face. So instead of being grateful for that, Martell used that to abuse her further. After the divorce, Melody did not ask for alimony or child support. She didn't even sue him for the $17,000 he stole from her. In exchange for her looking out for him, he tried to disparage her and smear her name by calling her a hoe, by exposing the fact that she may have had an affair while she was broken up with him during their separation, by exposing the fact that she had an abortion, and throwing her under the bus to make Arion look good, okay? So every time Melody was accommodating to him, compassionate, understanding, and empathetic, Martell weaponized that against her. So now, of course, she's not going to change her schedule to go out of her way to see Martell or to bring the kids to Martell. Melody has post-traumatic stress disorder. Martell triggers her anxiety. He makes her feel unsafe. He's not talking about that. He's not explaining why Melody doesn't want to see him. He thinks he can terrorize Melody and abuse her and then ask her for a favor. Also, Martell scheduled this book signing on Melody's time because he wanted to control her. Okay? He wants to still have control over her life. So now he wants her to switch up her plans and accommodate him, because as long as she's accommodating him, she's thinking about him and making him some sort of priority in her life, which is what he wants her to do. So Melody peeps game, and she does not want to be around him. She doesn't feel safe around him. And you know, some of the audience who aren't familiar with personality disorders, they'll say, oh, Melody's bitter. She's being a bitch. She's being difficult. This is why black men complain about black women not letting them see their kids. You got a black father trying to see his kids, but his bitter black baby mama won't let him see them. What a lot of these men don't understand is that if a woman does not feel safe around you, she's not going to want her kids around you neither. Melody has bent over backwards to make sure that Martell sees his kids, but he's using the children to be able to maintain access to her. That's why she's changed her last name, and that's why she's blocked him energetically. Okay, she's trying to completely block him out of her life because his energy is so toxic. It makes it difficult for her to operate at her full capacity. When you're a single parent, especially when you're a single parent of more than one child, she has 4 kids. When you're a single parent, you need to conserve all of your energy in order to do everything that you need to do to maintain order and consistency and structure in your life. When you're a single parent, you're getting the kids ready for school. Every day you're doing household chores, cooking, cleaning, taking the kids to school. Then you have to work and run your businesses in order to pay the bills in the house. You don't have the time, the patience, or the energy to argue about dumb stuff. Martell is the type to pick petty arguments with Melody in order to take her time, to consume all of her time. Because as long as Melody is arguing with Martell and he's consuming her time, he feels like he's still connected to her and he has power over her. This is why he scheduled this book signing on her time. And to be honest, you know, even though it was true, Melody did not need to provide an excuse for Martell as to why she could not bring the kids to the book signing. She doesn't want to talk to him at all because he is determined to make her life very difficult. And Melody also knows that Martell is using this book signing to open the door, right? To put a gap in the door that Melody has closed, to open the door for a future reconciliation. This is what narcissists do. This is a part of the Hoovering tactic, right? They'll abuse you, disrespect you, devalue you, discard you, and then several weeks or months later, they'll call you over some petty nonsense. Oh, you left your coffee cup at my house. Come pick it up. Nonsense like that, just to open a door for future reconciliation so they can get more supply from you while they're on the outs from the girlfriend they replace you with. You know how some people don't like their jobs, so when Sunday night comes, they're in bed, anxious, tired, not wanting to go to work. Whenever Melody sees a call or text or an email from Martell, she feels anxiety and trepidation. Her fight and flight response is being activated and triggered. So instead of fighting with Martell, she's going to run away from him. She does not want to be around him. She wants to avoid him at all costs. And again, this is not Melody being petty and bitter because he's with Ariane. Last year, Martell took Ariane to Miami for her birthday. And this was during the time he was supposed to have the kids. So Melody volunteered to take the kids on her off week so that Martell can go on vacation with Ariane. That's proof and evidence that Melody doesn't give a fuck about what Martell is doing with Ariane, and Ariane needs to stop antagonizing her and taunting her as if she's won something because there's nothing else for her to hang her hat on. Anyway, so Melody said that she volunteered to watch the kids for Martell on her off week so he can go on vacation with Ariane for her birthday. And guess what Martell did? She said the next morning at like 4 or 5 in the morning, Martell is texting her the first thing in the morning while he's laying in bed with the mistress that he allowed to destroy his marriage, with the mistress he got pregnant while he was married to his wife. While he's laying in bed with her at 5 o'clock in the morning, the first thing Melody has to see on her phone is Martell texting her, "What are you doing? Who are you with?" Basically attacking her and antagonizing her for not giving a fuck about him being with the mistress. So every single time Melody has tried to cater to Martell, he has turned around and attacked her. So she's not doing that anymore. She wants nothing more to do with him. And I don't blame her. She's protecting her peace, her security, She's making sure she has the time and the energy to do what she has to do to take care of her 4 children and maintain her sanity. She does not have time to argue on the phone for hours and hours at a time. If you guys remember last year, when Melody tried to get her stuff from the marital home, right? Martell blocked her in the driveway. He locked her stuff in his car and basically not kidnapped her, but kind of held her hostage in a sense, because he wouldn't let her leave with her stuff. It is very difficult to be around somebody who's illogical and unreasonable and irrational. You cannot talk to them. You can't compromise with them. There's nothing you can say or do to convince them to treat you better. There's nothing that Melody can do right as long as Martell does not have access or control over her. That is the crux of the problem here. And Melody knows this, and she has no intention of going back to him. So this is what happened with Martell, right? Martell, like many narcissists, during the devalue and discard phase, what they try to do is destroy you. Because since narcissists have an attachment disorder, they have separation anxiety, right? What they try to do is destroy you so that it's easier to detach from you emotionally. Because who wants to be with somebody who's broken, who's diseased, who's ugly, who's old, who's whatever, right? Who wants to be with someone like that? So the narcissist will do everything in their power to destroy you so that it's easier to leave you, to justify leaving you for their new supply. The thing with Martell is that he got with a woman who was a real boss. And I keep saying this. He got with a woman who was not going to be destroyed by anybody. I think Melody has a Libra ascendant, and I believe that her Mars is in Libra also. If her Mars is on her ascendant, she's not going to buckle and break for anybody. She's actually a really good fighter. She's very courageous. And she enjoys fighting, not for the sake of being destructive, but she enjoys having the power to defend herself from her enemies, because she's a woman. She's not going to be the antagonist. She's not going to be the aggressor for the most part. She'll be the one to defend herself because her Mars will be on her ascendant. I'm assuming that. I don't know for sure. I don't have a birth time, but based on, certain aspects of her life, as well as the fact that of her mother being an Aries sun sign, sometimes the child's ascendant or the sun sign is opposite of the mom's sun. But anyway, Martell did not take into account that Melody is a warrior. So he was not going to be able to break her as easily as he would other women. In other words, Melody is still a good source of narcissistic supply for him. Okay? Melody is still beautiful. She's still ambitious. She's still intelligent. She's still hardworking. She's all of those things that Martell liked about her. And because he still likes those things about her, he's still attached to her. He still wants to be associated with her. He still wants her to be a source of supply for him. That wouldn't be the case if there was nothing left, if he had destroyed her the way that he wanted her to. So anyway, Melody knows this. Melody knows that Martell wants to destroy her, even as he's still using her as a source of inspiration. Apparently the wine that he released was inspired by Melody, okay? And if I was Arion, I would feel some kind of way about my man still pining after his ex and getting inspiration from her for business. That's what I would be concerned about. But I'm going to address that in another conversation, because Arion is still antagonizing Melody and saying slick shit out of her mouth about Melody. So I feel the need to address why this is happening still. 2 years after Melody filed for divorce, the mistress is still talking shit about Melody, and Melody hasn't peeped a word about this lady for years. Carlos is, he's interesting, because at the end of the episode, Carlos is playing this sad, forlorn music as if Martell is this pitiful character and you should feel sorry for him. You cannot feel sorry for people who have personality disorders, because they are going to pretend to be conciliatory and remorseful until they're sure you're back in their grips again, until they're sure you can be a reliable source of supply for them again. It's a game for them. Their objective is to abuse you at all costs, because if they abuse you, they have control over their own emotions. So abusing you makes them feel like they have power and control over you. And that makes them feel secure, because in your attempts and your efforts to figure out what the problem is, that is a part of the attachment that keeps you tethered to them. If you didn't care about them, you wouldn't try to fix the problem. So they constantly create problems for you to solve in order for you to remain attached to them. But it's also very complicated, because someone like Martell, he intentionally created distance between him and Melody in the devalue and discard phase to justify cheating with Arion. So it's very difficult for a lot of people to understand narcissists because they create distance and closeness at the same time. And that is a function of their dysregulation, of their separation anxiety. So in order for them to feel empowered, they create distance, right? They push you away because they feel like in order to maintain control over themselves, they have to separate from you. But you separating from them triggers their abandonment issues. They feel like you abandoned them after they push you away intentionally. So when Martell was intentionally abusing Melody, verbally, mentally, emotionally, etc., he was doing this to push her away. And then at the same time, by pushing her away, he started to value Melody more because Melody leaving him triggered his separation anxiety and abandonment issues. So how do I know Martell has abandonment issues? Because he calls people 50 times in a row if they don't pick up the phone. So Martell doesn't know his ass from his elbow. He wants to be with Melody and not be with her at the same time, because being with her makes him feel loved and valuable and nurtured. But those feelings trigger Martell. It makes him feel insecure, because if you love something, you're at risk of losing it. So because you don't want to lose something that you love, you throw it away intentionally so that you have control over when you lose access to this person. You have control over when the person stops loving you. There's an old David Ruffin song, and one of the lines in the song, he says, "I'd rather leave you holding on than pushing me away." So I'd rather leave you where you still want me than to leave you because you don't want me no more. In order for me to accomplish this, I have to abuse you to the point where you want to leave me. And I'll still love you, but the abuse is my way of taking power and control over my own emotions so that when you do leave, I expect it and I facilitated it, so I have control over it and it doesn't control me, and I don't feel as bad about losing you. But most times this backfires on narcissists. That's why they start hoovering and they come back for more supply, because they feel abandoned by you even after they abused you and abandoned you. Okay? Anyway, so yeah, just to recap, Melody did the right thing by not bringing the kids to Martell when it was her time to be with them. Why didn't he schedule this book signing on his own time and he can do another one? He only did the book signing so that he can see Melody, okay? And have control over her. He wanted to impress her and show her, see, look what I'm doing, mommy. I have something for you to be proud of. Accept me and love me again. That was the point of him asking her to bring the kids. He could have did it by himself, but he didn't want to do it by himself. He wanted her to see what he was doing. He wants to prove himself to her again. And that is something for Arion to have to deal with. She's going to have to deal with the fact that her man still wants his ex. But Arion doesn't really care about that either, because she has a personality disorder too. And I'm going to discuss that further in another conversation. Anyway, I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. YouTube has been unsubscribing people from my channel. I don't know why. I must be on some list. And also, shout out to everybody who has been sharing my commentary. Shout out to everybody who's been ordering readings from me. I really appreciate you guys. I love all the support. I love all the feedback that I'm getting from everybody. Even the feedback that doesn't necessarily agree with all my viewpoints, I do appreciate you guys engaging with the channel, because it kind of makes me feel like I'm having some sort of positive impact, hopefully, on the community. And, you know, I'm not just here talking for the sake of YouTube views and likes and subscriptions. That's not what I started my platform for. I really wanted to help people. If I can't do that, then again, I don't know why I would have this channel. It would be a waste of time for me. I'm not that interested in celebrity news and gossip to have full channels dedicated to everything that happens in social media and in the world of entertainment. But as I said before, I got so sick of limited narratives that I decided to lend my voice to the public discourse to offer a different perspective on topics. I did not expect people to resonate with my message so much. So I appreciate everybody sharing my content. Anyway, again, I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.